Guys, I know my afro is like huge, but my skin is clearing up. Um, yeah, that huge thing is gone, and I basically just went back to my some soap I have, but it has like some chemicals in it for like pimples and stuff. So I just like ended up using that to get rid of the pimples and stuff, but I may not use it daily. And so far, the toner and the moisturizer, the Pond's moisturizer, is doing really good. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. My afro looks so funny. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I want to get on here like this. Whatever. Anyway, I just got the shower, so it's pillow time. As you can see, it's pillow time. But um, I was listening to this song today, and the Lord, he's so amazing. Is God can speak to you in so many different ways. It's insane. Like God can literally reach you at whatever point that you're at, through anything. And I was watching American Idol on YouTube. I think I was checking my Google notifications, and one of the comments is on a video that I had watched, about a silly American Idol audition. And you just kind of like start traveling through YouTube. While I was traveling, and I came across this song, and what really amazed me about it was, definitely take this message to the Lord by all means. But I'm on fire right now. Like I have a fire in my spirit. I really do. I think it's so interesting how people, rock stars, people who like, are rock artists and stuff, they have all this adrenaline and this, some of them actually admit to having, spirits as muses and stuff, but they have all this adrenaline and this religion that they believe in. And they're really, I mean, it honestly is, it's delusion, it's a strong delusion, it's not true, but God was speaking to me through that song. And in a lot of ways, like I always say, there's a parallel between, the enemy and the Father. And the message in the song was very similar to what the message of the gospel is. And the lyrics of the song, I think she says something like, give all you got until there's nothing left. And then after that she says, um, something about blood, sweat, and tears or something. I'm going to jack the song all the way up. But basically, they're really adamant about what they believe in, and they're saying, give it all you got, just let go of everything, forsake everything. This is what it's all about. And it was funny because, like, actually, the Lord literally started kind of speaking to me through it, And I don't know. I just kind of have like a weird revolutionized idea of the gospel. It's nothing new. I mean, it's what he told me before, but we lose his revelation sometimes, and I don't know. Then the Father spoke to me today through these two books. I was on Instagram, and a sister in Christ, she posted this picture from I think the lady's name is Sherry or something like that, but she has these devotional books that she does, and it's called My Princess. I'm jacking this all the way up. Anyway, she posted on Instagram, and I read it, and the Holy Spirit always speaks to me through those little pictures, and I always meant to find out where I can get those devotionals from, So I finally looked it up today. When I tell you, there's a book directly dedicated to you from the Father. There's one that she wrote that's dedicated to you from Jesus as your husband, as the bride of Christ. And there's a third one on just building a relationship with God. And like just a little devotional part that she had where God is speaking to you. I kid you not. It was like he was reading my soul, and I was just reading it, and I was just bearing witness to it like crazy. Like that's everything I've been feeling. It was just saying stuff like, it was like God saw right through me, which I know he already can, but I don't know. I've just been feeling like so low lately, even in the midst of just like writing prayers and stuff and doing videos. I have been feeling like that lately. Like I feel like God is mad at me, or I'm so on fire right now. I'm sorry. I feel like God is mad at me, or I really want that relationship with Him. And every time I get like a revelation of His love or something, it never just really takes root in my heart. There's just a barrier there. And that devotional, it was speaking directly to me, and it was just saying stuff like, I know you want this relationship with me, and if you just quiet out and just tune out the world, just talking about different distractions and barriers, that's like really keeping you from having that relationship with God. And there was one where he was talking about his plans for me and everything. If you don't know how to start this, just ask me. Now, so so that was lined up with everything he's been telling me about the whole book thing. So I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this before. I'm sure you have, but I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry because I really needed it, and it was definitely the Father's heart. I'm gonna get those books. I asked him for the money for it so I can get those books. And oh, by the way, I got one of my books in. Even though I was supposed to do a book haul for y'all, I got this one in. It's called Recognizing the Jezebel Spirit, the Spirit of Jezebel, by Vicki Vincent. I'm gonna read that with y'all, but I got that in today. But I just needed to hear it, because we do convince ourselves that the Father hates us or that He's upset with us. And even if the Lord was upset with us, He doesn't see us and love us the way we love other people. Our love towards people is very conditional. So God doesn't deal with His people the way we would deal with people, But when I was reading those devotionals, it's like He was just seeing directly into my soul. I really cannot explain it. Like, underlying things, things that He sees that's in my heart. Like, I really do want Him. I really do love Him. My heart is with Him, but I'm distracted here and barriers here. I can't really get through. I can't get that fire. I want that fire. I want this relationship. I don't really know how to go about getting it. He looks past all of that, and He sees to the core of what your heart really wants. And I didn't feel exposed. I felt exposed, and it was like a good exposed. Like, God sees me. You know how they say in Genesis how Hagar, she was like, she called him the God who sees me. And that's exactly what that moment was for me. And I can't explain to you what it did to me. When you really speak to the core of somebody's heart like that, and there's no way you could have known those things. Only God can know those things. And just see right through you like that. It's very piercing, and it affects you on a great level emotionally. And that's what it did for me. And it encouraged me so much. Because like I said, we always convince ourselves that because we're not either doing something right or doing it perfectly, or just especially with me, because I get a lot of revelations from Him, and sometimes I don't apply it right away, or I don't apply it, as perfectly. But man, those words, I really can't explain it. I mean, yeah, He used her to write it, but it wasn't her, it was Him. And I heard Him when I was reading it, and it was in detail, and it was words, but it was love. Like, I felt nothing but love. Like, He was coming from a place of love, and He was talking directly to me. And as He was speaking to me through the book, I felt in my heart, how our spirit bears witness with things? Well, I feel like my heart was bearing witness. Like, God knows if you really want Him or not. Regardless of what you're doing, what you're not doing, He can see that. The same way He'll expose anybody else's heart to us. He sees that in your heart, and that's the only thing He's interested in, really. If He has something to work with, then that's what He's gonna fish for. And I don't know why I keep condemning myself this way, because any encounter I have with Jesus, He literally sees right past like all those flaws and stuff. Like, He's not interested in that. I don't know, I just felt like I felt penetrated in the most beautiful way, like in my heart. I just felt like God was looking at me. It was a book, but I felt like God was looking at me, but He was looking through me, like straight to my core. Like, underneath all the debris and all the flaws and all the evilness and stuff, He saw that, and that was the only thing that He cared to really address me about. Like, I see that you want that fire. I see that you want that relationship, and you're distracted right now. You have so many different barriers and hindrances, and He just spoke so gently and just so tender. How Hosea says, He'll speak tenderly to her. That's exactly how He was talking to me. And I got so emotional. I fell in love. I felt like God saw right through me, and He spoke to me. And I just fell in love all over again. I really cannot explain it. Only God can do something like that. Only God can look right through you and see you. He sees what other people can't see. And I had to make this video because like I'm on fire right now. Like I have such a different paradigm, and I was thinking that he was just mad at me and just angry at me today when he just spoke to me like that. It just awakened something in me. I really cannot explain it. The effect that God's love has on your heart is insane. And you know what it felt like? It kind of felt like he was my lover, which he is. Jesus is our lover, but my love for him is suppressed in my heart under so many different debris, so much debris and different frustrations and stuff. And like I said, when he looked at me, he looked right through me. And that was the only thing that he really addressed was my love for him. And when I was reading it, not only was I falling in love with him, because I really cannot explain it. Y'all would have to experience it for yourselves. Like maybe some of y'all know what I'm talking about, but oh my God, I don't know how the Lord does that. I don't know if it affects me like this because it is in my heart already that I love him, or if that's just his love. That's just the effect that it has on the heart. Period. But I just I can't explain it. It's deeper than God seeing right through you. That's not exactly what I felt. I just felt so much love. I felt like he was drawing me and wooing me through this book with his words, speaking directly to my heart. And it was so romantic and so passionate. I really cannot explain it to you. And I was just falling in love with him through the book because I was like, how does he know? Well, not how does he know? Does God, he knows, but it's just, even though we know that, and even though he's God and he already knows, every time he does it, it stirs that in you all over again. And it just never ends. Like that's a beautiful relationship to have. Like that fire never really goes away. Even though God does stuff like this, every time it happens, it's just like he ignites you just all over again. And that's exactly what it did to me. I was reading it and I was just like, oh my God, my heart just, it felt like love, but it was like a flame in my heart, but like a soft flame, not like a violent fire, but it just felt like, I can't explain it, like lava, but love, like lava love. And it was just in my heart. And God, I fell in love with them. And it was weird because the love was already there. It was just deeply suppressed. And it was like, as he was speaking to me and drawing me with his love, he was pulling that out, if that makes sense. The love that was already there, he was pulling that out of me. It just made me want him passionately that much more. And it just reminded me, that's really who Jesus really is. And I was really beating myself up over this recently because, ever since I made that little video, like I think a year ago, my encounter with Jesus, and I did get that revelation. I did have the encounter with him, but you forget, if you're not staying that close to him, you're not gonna always be in that realm. And sometimes it's really hard to get back in that place. Even though you receive the revelation, sometimes it can just become a memory and not your reality anymore. And that's what it was for me recently. But when I felt that, when the Bible says that God draws you by his love, that literally is the most powerful method in the world that you could ever draw somebody to Christ through. It's something about love. It's crazy. We'll respond to God drawing us through his love more than we would him convicting us. I know that sounds crazy because both are necessary, but It's something about his love and just the way he just woos you and just draws you. He sees you. A lot of people can't see you, you know? They may have discernment here and there, but God sees you. Like, we may want him underneath, but we focus on like all these flaws that we have and all these distractions and what's hindering us, and all these problems, and he doesn't see any of that. He cuts through all of that and just sees you want him. You know. And it was like bearing witness, but like bearing witness in love. It was like God knew I was in love with him. He knew that I wanted him, and he just kind of came to me. It just spoke to me about it, and I was like, whoa. Like, wait a minute. Like, how you just gonna like lift all the layers up? Like, it was just beautiful the way he did it. I can't explain it, but I have to get those books. It is his voice. It's definitely his voice. I have to get those books. It's literally the answer to my prayers. Everything that I've been thinking. And that's another thing that just really blew my mind, because like I don't pray to God about a lot of stuff. Sometimes I just think it, and I know that he'll answer, you know, anyway, because he answers us according to our thoughts as well. He's always searching our hearts. But I was just shocked at that little bitty devotional. I think it was just like two of the books actually had like a little information of what the book was about, and it was just so small, and it was enough. It literally was everything I have been thinking lately, feeling, and he was responding to me in the most passionate and loving way. But the song, anyway. Well, the lyrics is let me see. I'm gonna jack this all the way up. Basically, I always found it interesting how rock stars, they're very adamant about what they believe in. You know, whether it's religion for them or whether it's just the rock star lifestyle, whatever. They're really, you know, they have that fire, they have that adrenaline, you know, and they're just like, this is what it's about, and yeah, you know, and they're like die hard, you know, for it. And I just thought it was funny because he started speaking to me through this, and it was him. He was speaking to me through the song, and he kind of brought it down to a layer in my spirit where the gospel is concerned. And he told me this is how it's supposed to be. Those lyrics. This is exactly how it's supposed to be. And yes, I just made a video talking about, you know, secular and Christian music, but this is one of his peekaboo moments, you know. And I said, wow. You know, and I kept listening to it. And the way they're on fire in that little rock song, well, he reminded me of the book of Acts, the church of Acts. And he said, if you want to know how they were in the beginning, this is how she was, the bride. She was ignited. And when he revealed it to me, it wasn't like it was zeal, but it was like a passionate flame of love type zeal that the body of Christ is supposed to have for God. It's not just conviction, and it's not just guilt and, you know, having to be holy. It's like a fire, God's fire. When he gets a hold of you and he just consumes you, it motivates you to just forsake everything and just stop caring. You know, a lot of us, you know, we always want to make surrender religious. It's not a religious thing. It's just falling in love with Jesus. And, you know, I said, wow, you know, he was giving a little revelation through the song or whatever. And I said, this whole time I've been stressing out, you know, feeling burdened because, you know, knowing I had to pray for certain people and I hadn't prayed for them yet, or the people that I do pray for, I'm really stressed because, oh my God, they have this stronghold and I'm up against this kind of spirit and these spirits, and I gotta beg God. And now, after he kind of gave me that revelation through that song, and, you know, God is magnificent, you know. Nothing is too hard for him. We think it's hard. You know, yeah, it's true that people have to respond to him when he draws them, but we think that way because we don't know how big our God is. We always say that, but we use it in a cliche, you know, setting, and that's really not what it is. It's not cliche. God is amazing. He is the most powerful and just influential love. I don't think anybody could really resist. If they really knew him, I don't think you could resist that kind of love. And I was praying for the people that I hung out with today. I went on a trail ride with my mom today, and I really didn't do anything. I didn't do anything at all, but Um, I was praying for the people a few minutes ago, and you know how we always write or pray all these long, drawn out prayers. Not saying that those aren't effective, because they really are effective. The Holy Spirit may lead you to pray those too, but how powerful is it to pray a simple prayer? God, just consume them with your fire, because you understand what that means. God is so magnificent. His love is so powerful and outstanding. He can transform anybody, any life. All you have to do is ask Him, Lord, reveal yourself to them. Consume them with your fire. Consume them with your love. And all the details is just going to come naturally. You don't have to pray all the details of what you want God to do. I mean, it's just crazy. And I have this new paradigm of faith again. And that's what I've been praying for Him for. I've been telling Him, like, God, like, I need that paradigm back. Like, I get the revelations, but it's not a reality anymore. I feel like I'm just kind of learning, but I'm not able to really just live it. And I was talking to Him a few minutes ago. I said, I believe again. I said, I can feel it. It feels like a fire. I feel fire in my spirit. I really do. And really cannot explain. I'm trying so hard to word it. I really cannot explain it, but God is just so amazing. He's so magnificent. And instead of seeing the flaws and what could happen and all the negatives and everything, all I see is what God can do. I can't explain it. It's much bigger than what I'm saying right now, but I can't see anything else but Him. I see Him as just a huge flame of fire and just love. And whatever He touches becomes love. If we saw everything that way, we would not be stressed out about praying for people, because we know how powerful His touch is alone. Imagine being consumed with Him. And he asked me, he said, do you believe now? He was smiling at me. I said, I thought you'd be mad at me for listening to that song. And he said, no. He said he wasn't mad, because he used it to speak to me. But yeah, he asked me that. He said, do you believe now? I said, I do. I said, I do believe. I said, how can I not? Look who you are. Look what you are. We don't know God like we should. And that's not me trying to make you feel bad. It's just He spends so much time trying to woo us and draw us into this relationship with Him, so He can reveal Himself to us. We always say, oh, God, I want to see your face. Well, He's trying, And I told Him, I said, you know what, God? I said, I want that fire. Those people, they have this fire. Like, it's the wrong fire. It's the wrong spirit, But I said, if the enemy can give them that, how much more can we have that with God? And then that's when He started speaking to me about it. He said, it's exactly how the early church was. I mean, really, you got to question, what did these Christians have that we don't have, to the point where they were skinned alive, shed blood, tears, heavy persecution, stoned for Jesus? Something had to come and completely revolutionize their life, and it's something that we don't have. Surrender is not hard. I can't explain it. I feel so different right now, but it's really not hard at all. When you encounter God in such a magnificent way, and everybody's going to have their own way, so don't beat yourself up over it, but you want to let everything go. You want to, God, burn everything out. Like, because that was the lyrics in the song. It said, give all you got till there ain't nothing left. Basically, that's what He was speaking to me as far as surrender and stuff goes. Give everything to God. Let Him consume you so much to the point where you just, not just, I always say, we're here to like emanate or emulate Him and manifest Him. And that's true. We are, Christ is living through us. That's in Romans. But becoming one with that fire. That's what they want. They have the wrong spirit, obviously. But we have God, and we don't even chase that. Look how much these people chase that. They live for that. That's why they love being on stage. The adrenaline that they get. We can get that same adrenaline from the Holy Spirit. And we're not chasing it at all. But that's mostly what He was just dealing with me about, was just Christians being consumed, or His people being consumed by His fire. It's really not even much that you have to do. It's not detailed of what a Christian should do and let go of. It just happens, Once God touches you, once you really get to know Him, You don't care anymore. You just let go. And now this is what you live for. You're not just living to please him and living to serve him, not living to do for God, but living to be one with the living God. I mean, what more could you ask for? Freedom. We always talk about freedom in Christ, and we've never even really experienced it before. Knowledge wise, we know what that means, salvation from hell. Okay, this is much bigger than that. It's a freedom from the inside. It's like a rebirth. It's fire on the inside, but I can't explain it. It's like Christ is living through you, but you become a part of him at the same time, and now y'all are just, it's just this one fire, just enveloped. There's this huge flame. And I mean, it should just I can't explain it. I said, this is how they were able to go all the way to being martyred, to being stoned and burned, and whatever they had to endure didn't matter to them because they were so captivated. They were already enveloped by this love, by this fire, God's fire. They were baptized with the Holy Spirit and with fire. That's why they went crazy in the beginning. I highly doubt they cared about being killed because, I mean, once they get to you, it's just like, I don't care about anything anymore. This is what I live for. I'm living for the presence of God. I'm here to pursue the presence of God. I want that fire. I have to have that fire in me. I have to become one with this God. I will go to the death. You can do whatever you want to do to me, but it's too late. He's already got me. you know? And I was just sitting in the car and he was just revealing all this to me, and I'm just like, my God, that's what it's all about. That's the message. Well, part of the message, part of the gospel anyway, as far as discipleship is concerned. God's true disciples are radical people, and nobody really understands why. It's because they know him. He's touched them. This is their life now. That's what it means. And it's funny because he was revealing all this to me through the song, but I had scriptures popping up like, that's what that means. Dead to sin, alive unto God. Through a born again spirit. It really is like a fire on the inside of you. I don't know if y'all have felt it before, maybe not. Well, he just revealed it to me tonight. So y'all go ahead and pray and just seek him for it, and he will give it to you. But man, wow. My prayers are different now. I don't see what's wrong. I don't see what could go wrong. I don't see what the enemy is doing. I just see God. And he was smiling at me a few minutes ago. I felt it in my spirit. He was smiling at me. And he was like, atta girl, like that. Like the childlike faith is back, This is what I want from you. This is the faith that I want from you. Don't see the enemy and what the enemy is doing, Not saying that the Lord won't ever, lead you to pray against the enemies, witchcraft or anything like that. But sometimes we miss the simplicity of what faith really is. And it's just seeing God, what he's capable of, and who he is. And that's enough. I don't need any more details. This is a person who's, the Bible says, he's a consuming fire. All I have to do is ask you to touch somebody, and you got them. Or myself included. I was praying for myself too. Like, I was like, man, like, I was excited to pray because it's just so easy to pray now because I'm praying through faith. Not having faith in what I'm praying for, but praying through faith. It's a realm. I really can't explain it, but your prayer should be exploring God. Anytime you pray about something, you shouldn't see anything but God and what he's capable of doing. It has nothing to do with what's contrary, what's in opposition against what God's trying to do. All of that completely gets just disappears when it comes to him in his presence. It really does. And now I understand why he's really big on faith and he hates unbelief and doubt. It's because it's an insult to who he is and his character and his integrity. Now I see, do you know who I am? Y'all are fearing all this different stuff and what the enemy's trying to do. The enemy, honey, I'm light. I'm fire. I am. That's his name. His name is I am. Anything I touch gets transformed. And y'all are fretting for what? Worrying for what? Do you know who I am? All you have to pray is, God, touch it. Touch them. It's fire. We're here to be like little embers for God. Like he's looking for people to just completely envelop in this love, in this burning passion and zeal, and they fall so madly and passionately in love with him. His presence becomes the only care that they have in this life. The only pursuit that they really care for is that adrenaline. That's basically what he was using the song for, to speak to me about. That adrenaline that we all seek, that freedom, that freedom inside that we don't have, because we always feel a void most of the time, and just not caring, and just finally feeling whole in God's presence. It's very similar to the videos that I just did. It really is the same message, but he just kind of gave me a different outlook or different perspective on the same thing today. It's so easy. The only way God can really, have you understand it is if you just seek him for it. Because I was praying to him about it a few days ago, and he answered me. He sure did. He'll get to you. Let him speak to you how he chooses to, But we should want to be consumed. I was talking. I was like, I can't believe I was really fretting over giving up this little stuff that you was convicting me about. Yeah, I was obeying him with giving it up, but I was like, now it just seems so minute. Like I can't explain. It's like lightning striking you. That's what he wants to do to every single one of us. He's in heaven. He wants to just strike you with that fire from heaven. He wants to light you up. He wants to ignite you. He wants you to be on fire for him just as much as you want to be on fire for him. He wants it so bad. And once that happens, God sets the world on fire through his church. My God. This is so much bigger than signs and wonders. This is God being manifest on earth. All of his glory, all of his power through you. And it's not even really you, because you're just this flame. It makes me think about those testimonies, those ex-Satanist testimonies. They always say, like, they could tell who the real Christians were, who were really, they prayed a lot because they always had this fire. He said that it was this African guy. He said they had a fire around them. They prayed a lot. They were really in the spirit. Whereas the other Christians said we just saw a flame in them. I feel both. I feel the flame inside of me, honey. I'm not gonna lie. I can still feel it. It's just in there. I feel like a little fire. I know for a fact that it can be seen in the spirit because I can feel it right now. But that guy said that. They all say that in their testimonies, that they can tell who the Christians are, the witches, because they have a flame in them. And he said those who are really in communion with God, they're engulfed in flames. I didn't really understand. I mean, I knew what it meant when I was listening to the testimony, but now that God gave me this revelation, I said, wow, oh my God, man. Ugh. This is like the best adventure you could ever have in your life. This is far beyond religion. This has nothing to do with religion. Are you serious right now? This is what we live for. If those people can have that in the world through all these false spirits and antichrist spirits, and they live for that, they believe it, they're deceived. But imagine what we can have with God. It's the exact same thing. It really is. It's the exact same thing. You don't have to force yourself to endure to the end. It comes naturally. You want to. I can't explain it any better than that. I really can't. You're just gonna have to ask God to either, because I'm gonna end up on here for like a whole hour. Like, it's already 34 minutes long, but I can't explain it. I feel on fire. I really, really do. This is who you are. Not doing it for any reason, you know. but it's who you are now. You're dead to sin, alive unto God. Pray what you want. I can't even give you any method of prayer for this because I don't even know. He just kind of gave it to me today. Like, my God. I don't know what to say to you guys. I really don't. I see nothing but God when I pray. I can't see anything else. I can't. I don't see the enemy. God is too big. He's too bright. I just see fire. I see nothing but fire and just what God is capable of. And I just see him just setting the whole world just on fire through his love, through his power, through his glory. And he wants to use his people for it. He wants to engulf us in those flames. This is why the Bible says we are the light of the world. I know what it means now because he's shown it to me. It's crazy. How could you not live for this? There's nothing better. My God, we don't even know what we have. We have no idea what salvation is. We don't. Y'all have to receive this revelation. Please seek God for it. Because what I see right now is it's crazy. It's bigger than what we think and know Christianity to be right now. We have no idea what Christianity is. The early church did. They knew. They were ignited. It's too late for them. They were engulfed. He got them. He snatched them. That's how they endured to the end. They didn't care. The gospel completely revolutionized their life. Jesus came here and shook up this world. Which is kind of funny because, like, when he was talking to me about it, like, that's the funny paradox with it. Some rock stars say that Jesus he was the little rebel that came. I guess in a sense he kind of was. He did come here and just really, shake some stuff up, and he did completely just revolutionize everybody's life. But that's exactly what he did. And he started a flame, and he multiplied it. He did. Millions of embers all over the earth. They fear us. And they should. We have no idea what we're capable of. We don't even know who we are. It's really sad. I literally feel a fire ignited in me. I can't explain it. And I was telling him that. I said, Lord, I wanna feel alive. I said, I wanna feel what those people feel. Like, I've always wanted that though. I've always wanted that fire. I always wanted God to use me like powerfully, not just in detail, with big ministries and deliverance ministry, not with just stuff like that, but I would tell him like, I want that fire. What everybody else experienced in the Bible, like Moses, he saw a burning bush. Like, I want that. I want the supernatural. I want God. And He gave that to me. He gave me that vision and that revelation today. And He just ignited it in me all over again. I see nothing but God. Nothing. Just Jesus. And that's true faith. When you see nothing but God, what He's capable of, I want you to see Him that way right now. Just a big wave of fire spreading throughout the earth. That's God. And you know what's in that fire? What's motivated from it? Love. It's the most passionate, burning, sensational love you cannot even fathom. Unconditional love, penetrating love. It sees and just penetrates right through you. It's so irresistible. You don't have to force anybody to surrender to God. It happens naturally. Trust me. Once they get that fire, it's just forget everything. I will lose myself. Now I know what all these things mean when Jesus said it, lose your life for my sake. You know how awesome it is to be a disciple of Christ? Y'all have to feel what I feel right now. Like, this fire is just, it's crazy. It's so crazy. It's an amazing thing to be a disciple of Christ. The enemy is trying to scare Christians with persecution. Persecution don't do nothing to us. That's nothing. Death is nothing. We've already died. We are alive unto God. We are embers. We are inflamed. What can the enemy do when you pray in faith now? When all you see is God. All you see is him and his fire and his love and what he's capable of doing, knowing and believing that anything he touches is going to be transformed. It doesn't even give the enemy any room to infiltrate any type of doubt or fear, unbelief in you, because you don't see him anymore. He's irrelevant. He's diminished when it comes to God and his light. He's gone. There's no darkness in the Father. He's all gone. Satan can't even do anything now, because now you're going to receive exactly what you prayed for, because now you understand true faith. Abiding in that realm again, in that faith realm. Just see God. I see nothing else with that fire. I see nothing else with the Lord and what he can do. That's it. Nothing. Let God ignite you. I can't tell you what to pray specifically, like I said, because the way he did it today, it was just kind of like, he just kind of met me where I was at. And he just gave it to me. And then he spoke to me through those books and made me fall in love with him all over again, because he saw right through me and he was just talking to the real me. You know, the core you. You know how we got different layers of us, right? I had my debris brandy, the snobby, bratty one, and then below it was like, I really want God. I don't know how to get there. I want that fire. I want that zeal. I want that relationship. I just don't know how to get there. He cut through all of that. It was talking. I was like, don't be doing all of that. Oh, God. Oh, it's like the most vulnerable, passionate love you could ever feel. Like, oh, God, I feel it in my heart. It's just, I feel a flame in my spirit. Like, it's like a candle. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like a candle, like a little candle light in here. I feel his love in my heart. And I can't see anything but him now. It's crazy. God, ask the Lord to give you revelation of discipleship. You have to see this. This is why the enemy is always successful against us. We don't know God. God, man, this is crazy. I have to record this because I don't want to forget. I know the enemy gonna try to like snatch it or something. Like, I can't lose this. What I feel right now, like I'm ablaze. Like, man, like somebody just poured some gasoline in my spirit. It just lit me all the way up. Like, oh my God, y'all have to feel this. Imagine how destructive we would be if we had this revelation of who we really are as disciples. We are fire, literal fire in this earth realm, in the spirit. You are fire. You are fire. God is a consuming fire. Let it go. God, just let him have you. It's like the most exhilarating thing you could ever do. Like, he's energy, he's power, he's God. Let him have you. It's unlike anything you will ever experience. I promise you. Like, it's not what you think. It's so far from religion. Let him have you. He will light you up. Nothing will matter anymore. They're going to try to kill you. They're going to try to persecute you. It's not going to even matter. You're going to laugh at their face. Your face will probably be glowing too, because like, and I know what I feel right now is not even the full measure yet, but what I feel so far, man, y'all, we need to seek God for it. I don't want to make this video too long because it's already extremely long already, but you guys, trust me, okay? Like, what I feel right now, oh my God, Jesus. Woo! Let God have you. You know what? It's not that we don't want God to have us. We don't know what to expect. We have expectations of what it's going to be and feel like, and that's not what it is. It's not. Imagine it as lightning. God is lightning striking you, and you become just engulfed and inflamed. That's exactly what it's like. It's the power of God living through you, literally. I know we've read that so many times, but you never really knew what that meant. It's literal. It's the living, breathing, supernatural power of God living through you. You are on fire. You are ignited. You are the power of God living through you. Everybody wants to talk about, oh my God, I want to see the power of God. I want to operate the power of God. He wants to put his power in you. He don't want to just give you signs and wonders. He wants to engulf you with himself. That's even better. That's true freedom in Christ. That's power. We got better than what the world got. We got better than what these occultists and stuff got. Y'all don't even know what kind of God we serve. We got the real deal here. Creator of heaven and earth. We have the I am living inside of us. You are fire. Ask God to give you revelation of what that means and what that looks like, who you are. And it's not so much about God letting God burn up everything inside you that's not right. He will do that. But that's not even the gist of it. That's not even really what it's about. It's letting him have you. Let that fire just consume you. You just become charged. Like, I can't explain it. That's exactly what I feel right now. My heart just melted when Jesus was talking to me through that book earlier. And the Father, they both were talking to me. I was like, y'all stop moving my heart like that. Like, dang, like I know I'm in love, and dang, like they just stirred my love all the way back up. I was like, how you gonna be looking through a sister like that? Ooh, that Jesus know. He knows you love him. He knows it. He can see right through your heart. He can see underneath all that stuff. It's like, she loves me. I'm gonna get her back. I'm gonna draw her. I want to burn her all the way up. I'm gonna ignite her, and she's gonna live for me. She's gonna rock for me.